Hi, my name is Cintron. I am a multifaceted creative and strategist. So I create photography, videography. I can write, put that with strategic like content creation and output and management. So and event planning and whatever needs to be done. I got into this type of like just using my creativity more so once I kind of started to get into the Hartford arts scene after college and kind of in 2000 about 2017, meeting people like at Sully's and the artists there, musicians, and kind of just other artists would be there, so it would be like this whole kind of melting pot. And I think from there I kind of started to tap into my creative abilities that I had, but I never really thought about pursuing more so just in general, right? Like just doing it, especially outside of school. Because when you're, anytime in like art class or whatever, you're kind of focused on art, but then that's it. So I think meeting those people and then eventually learning, I taught myself photography after that, and then video kind of followed. I've always written and I wrote before at UConn for the daily campus. Just like, because I was a international relations major with like, history, poli-sci. So I would kind of write stuff like on that, like kind of a political science angle, like in commentary, but able to transfer that. And then in 2000, I think 18 or 19, I did some freelance work for the Hartford Current. And then because I taught myself photography, I would interview the person and then take photos of the person. And it was just easier, I don't have to wait for a photographer to get there or anything. And also I was able to get, a bit of both. So it was just kind of that journey. And then what I do now is serving the local community and organizations in the community, creating stuff for them, or just creatives that are just around me, musicians that need photos for their like promotions or their flyers or coverage or recap, like Poetry Out Loud, doing this stuff like that, recapping their state finals and videos. So just kind of being able to show the outside world, whether it's outside of the community itself, like in Hartford, or locally, or also nationally, or maybe even internationally, but just trying to build awareness that there's really good things going on here, and people that are very talented. Yeah, so I mean, just building off of, building awareness and showing, people outside of Hartford, or who, because there's always pockets of, kind of like high school almost, like everyone, there's little like clubs or, factions or silos. It's, it's the biggest word is silos, but, trying to break that down, show that there's really good things, trying to connect people to the community, what there's available, because people will say, oh, there's nothing going on in Hartford, or there's nothing like that. And some of that might be true sometimes. I think there's more emphasis on trying to change that and trying to make Hartford not necessarily a 24/7 city like New York, but damn near close. Of like, there's things going on, there's art, there's sports, there's food, and other shops, boutiques, stuff like that. So trying to just contribute to the overall ecosystem and just bringing awareness to that, and also just helping out people and creatives, or that's why doing strategic like kind of guiding, or any way of like, hey, you should probably do this, like, especially on like social media, because that gets more people sometimes than just it's hard word of mouth sometimes, and sometimes they need to see it if they're not in the know, right? So just trying to tap into that. With the workshops, and kind of even, it might not be everything they're saying, because I'm kind of in this in a better position, because I've I have a master's in organizational leadership, so we were taught kind of like business skills on top of just leading and just being, all the facets of like strategy, of marketing, of business plans and stuff. So I had some sort of like, foundation for that. And, but you can always learn. So like, there's nothing like, again, if even if they're going over something, there's usually something that I didn't even like, I haven't thought of yet, or I needed a reminder. And sometimes you need that, like, you just have to be honest and like, again, just be open to receiving information, maybe someone else's perspective, again, the facilitators or the people that come in to give their, master classes. And these are people that have been doing it for longer and are, in those positions where we're trying to get to. So, anything to learn out of that and just being more cognizant, I guess, of what they have to say, what can help just, deconstruct kind of our like notions like of, especially as being a creative or someone that's in business for yourself, we're kind of guided to a 9-to-5 mentality. So trying to break that down, trying to realize, your worth and being able to actually get that in return of asking, when someone's asking for a service, like, this is my worth, or, pricing your artwork or your, if I take photos and I do big prints, like pricing that accordingly based on not just the overall material of like, buying the printing paper, the printer, if you need that, for instance, but actually the time it took you to take that photo, the circumstances, and then also if you edit it afterwards once you take the photo. So like taking all that into account, and then, just having the self-esteem, the self-love, and the self-confidence to be able to price that in a way that's, reflective of what you put into the work. And I think a lot of people get nervous sometimes of asking for their full worth. And I recently did that, like where I asked for what I was really worth, and I got a yes. And it was just like, wow, this is like the most I've ever asked for a particular, for photography, and a resounding yes. And it was just like, we're conditioned to think, oh no, that's too much. Oh, well, what happens if they say no? Or, all of these things could, that kind of self-doubt, or just that 9-to-5 mentality of like, wow, that's a lot. But again, it's equipment that you're putting, your experience you're putting in, just your overall professionalism and knowledge, of like, okay, well, this is how the shoot actually would go, because if I'm thinking about it, what do I need to do this correctly? How much time do I have to give myself per, whatever the assignment is, and you have to price that. It's in, for a business as a creative, or, someone who's just in business of yourself, there's a lot of overhead that you have to cover. Even you're talking even health insurance, or, any like liability insurance is what I have as a photographer, like liability insurance. So I have to pay that plus a membership to the Professional Photographers Association, so the PPA. And so I have to pay a membership so I can get the liability insurance. So I have to do both, right? Or, because it's easier that way. But like things like that, where it's like, that's overhead right there. That's one part. Sick time, because if I get sick, I have to pay for any like out-of-pocket insurance costs, because I get insurance, but I still, any co-pays or anything like that. And then also, if I'm sick, I can't work. So like, if I have a job next Monday and I'm sick on Friday, and I'm sick, I can't get it, still sick on Monday, I miss out on a job. And even where if I subcontract someone, I'm not getting the full amount. So it's just those type of things. Like, this is all that encompasses it. This is why the price is the price. And being able to know that, or like, and that they, well, talk about that there. And then also, okay, well, this is the value I provide plus all these things. And that's what it is. I think it's kind of already happening as we're going through it. Like, even the organization that I'm partnered with, TheaterWorks, they really see what I can bring as far as just even a creative outside of my project. But so being able to tap into those aspects already, and then just question again. Sorry.
The reaching your goals.
Yes. I think more aware, like more not in a way recognition, or just being able to open those doors so that I can get to the bigger organizations where I can do more help, and then also be compensated according to that worth, because I can't charge someone who's a creative like myself just because the same price as a brand. And not to say that I would want to anyway as a local creator. Like, I know you already have, if again, for instance, if a musician, reaching out to me, like, they are not getting paid as much per gig, especially if it's local. So like, being able to, hey, I'm gonna price you accordingly, because I get it, and I also want to help out because I know, again, I know a bunch of talented like musicians or artists that need to get their stuff out there or like promoted. So it's just like, being able to cut them some slack. But when the bigger organizations come and they, need some sort of service, then I can price accordingly because of these workshops that help us kind of with that, providing the value, being able to come across either on a website, how does that look, your kind of, brand story, your pitch, your sales pitch, like those type of things can really just help close deals. And that's kind of what I'm taking away right now that will help in the future acquire just bigger clients, and then eventually be able to do my own stuff, like as original content, even with like, grants and things like that. And